Hey everybody, it's Brandon L. Smith, and we are here with another episode. I think it's a very special episode of Issues from the Heart. Welcome to the show, and I have the pleasure of sitting beside. Go ahead and let everyone know who you are.
My name's Ginny Cruthis. I'm with BrightView Health. We do comprehensive outpatient addiction treatment here in Reidsville.
And I'm very excited about this episode because being that last month was Mental Health Awareness Month, I do think that this right here is very needed for the social platforms and the world to know more about addiction and mental health. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm
So
glad
for people
to be here.
thank you. So for people who do not know who you are, right? Let's get into just a little tad bit of who Ginny is.
Okay. Well, I've been with BrightView for about 5 months now. Originally, my profession was sales. I sold mattresses for about 10 years, but when Abby, I believe the recruiter's name was, that reached out to me, it was kind of a no-brainer, so shout out to Abby. Because there's been no looking back ever since. I mean, the topic of addiction and mental health has always been something that's been near and dear to my heart. Ever since, I would say probably high school. I mean, I'm 32 now, so when fentanyl was coming up in the communities, before I'd even graduated, I knew of 8 of my peers who died that year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, young people, some people even, it was their first time trying it, so that made me look at addiction a lot differently when you see how easily it affects everyone and how it truly doesn't discriminate. So reducing that stigma has always been something that I've felt very passionate about. So when BrightView reached out, it was kind of like the stars aligned, honestly.
Wow. Now I want to go back because you said that you went from selling mattresses for 10 years to now working in this field, right? Was that something that you always wanted to do? Was it a dream of yours? Or was it, you just wanted to be able to help people?
I've always wanted to be in a position to help people. In my old profession, I was helping people sleep better, which helped make their lives better. And in this position, I'm still helping people make their lives better by helping reduce stigma and honestly just giving people hope.
So what is your current role with the company now?
I'm an outreach coordinator.
Okay.
So it looks a lot like what we're doing right now, just kind of going out into the community and talking to people about BrightView and how we help people in the community with their addiction struggles.
Now, let's start with, what is a myth that may be around or you may have heard about addiction that you want to say, hey, that is not really true?
I would say the biggest myth would be that someone who's suffering from addiction, they're suffering from a moral failing. It's people think that, it's because they're not trying hard enough or because they don't care. That's not the case at all. Addiction is a disease, and we need to treat it like a disease. And I feel like the more that we can kind of expunge the stigma behind addiction and some of those drivers that keep people so locked into these things, that's really where we're going to start seeing more help in the community.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you this. How does mental health and substance abuse, how do they go hand in hand?
Well, it's different for different people. A lot of times when people are turning to substances, it's because they grew up in environments where they don't have healthy coping mechanisms. And those substances, they kind of help them survive through trauma and other things that they may be dealing with personally. That's one reason why it's so important when you're talking about helping people with their addiction. Is a big part of what we do at BrightView is we help people with resources.
Okay.
Like, for example, if you have someone and they have food insecurities or they don't know who's going to watch their kids, or they don't know, where they're going to live in the next 3 days. It's a lot harder to get them to be able to focus on their sobriety. So we help them with those resources and their care coordination as well to help keep them on track.
Okay. Now, dealing with that, I know that we have, people who have anxiety and depression and maybe trauma or dealing with grief. What are some resources or things that you all do to help that?
Yeah, so when you come into our center, you're going to be seen by a health professional. So they're going to give you a full analysis, and you're going to get an examination that day. You're going to be paired with a behavioral health specialist to help with the mental health side of things, and what might be going on under the surface is kind of keeping them in that environment. And then also we help with care coordination, so helping connect people with those resources.
Okay. Awesome. So let me ask you, if someone is dealing with, let's say, untreated mental health struggles, could that lead to addiction as well?
It's almost, like what came first, the chicken or the egg.
Okay.
No matter how they came to it, I think what is more important than how we got there is how we're going to get out of it. So both things are equally as important
Okay.
and kind of go hand in hand.
Okay. And I know a lot of times you deal with people who may be ashamed or they may be embarrassed. How do you handle that?
That is a really, really big problem in the community. And that's why I'm really grateful that you had me on the show so we could address that, because I feel like the more that people talk about, some of the stigmas, the shame, the fear of being judged, the more people realize that it's okay to ask for help, and that the feelings that you're feeling right now are normal. But there are people out there that want the best for you, and no matter what type of shame you're feeling about yourself, they're there to hold your hand and give you hope and help you rise.
Okay. Awesome. So, I know that addiction does not only affect one person, but it also can affect an entire family, right? So I want to use myself as an example because my dad, who has an addiction, right, and he knew that the addiction was getting bad and it caused him to have his legs amputated. And see, by me being his only child, I wanted to see him do better. So can you talk to me, being the only child, trying to get him to do right? I'm trying to get him to do right, but his mind and his heart is not in the right place. So can you talk to that individual that may be struggling with that with a loved one?
The best advice that I could give, and keep in mind, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a mental health professional myself, but from what I've come to learn while working with BrightView is just giving them a safe ear to where they know, without judgment, that you have their best interest at heart. So listening to where they're coming from, letting them know that it is okay to struggle with those thoughts and those feelings, and it's okay to even struggle with that dependency that you have. And if you yourself aren't able to, convince them to do something, I would always end that in an encouragement for them to speak with someone that they trust
Okay.
about it.
Okay. Okay. So it's very important to have a good support system, right?
Exactly. And if people don't have one, there are, numbers that you can call. And I know Daymark, they've got places for people that don't feel safe. They can call, and the B-Huck, where people can go if they don't feel safe in their environment and
Okay.
sit.
And is that like a living program, or is it like a pop in, pop out type of thing?
It's more of like a 24/7. It's kind of like a chair, you know, like if they
Okay.
don't feel safe where they are, they can go and there'll be um, mental health professionals that can talk to them while they're there and try and help get them connected with the correct resources like us at BrightView or whatever else might be going on with them.
Okay. So why is it important to, like for loved ones? I just told you about my father. Why is it important for us to be able to help people without judging them?
Because shame, in my opinion, shame is a really big driver, and it's a really big thing about what keeps people from wanting to get help. You know, if they can ignore it or if they can be in denial of it, they don't really have to face those things that are, you know, causing them a lot of pain. They're feeling pain, so they're doing substances, and the substances are causing them more pain.
Mm-hmm.
So you really want to be a soft spot to land, while still, you know, keeping healthy boundaries for yourself as well, so they can feel comfortable kind of addressing those issues.
Okay. Welcome back. If you're just not tuning in, we were learning more about BrightView, right? So I want to ask you, Jenny, what sets BrightView apart from other organizations?
Yeah, so BrightView, we're a outpatient care center.
Mm-hmm.
So what that means for people is they can come and get help for whatever they have going on without having to worry about, you know, being away from work for 22 days or not being able to spend time with their families.
Okay.
We take a very holistic approach to when it comes to treatment for people. So, first thing is going to be treating the symptoms. So, let's say, for example, we're going to be treating the withdrawal symptoms or the drive to go and use those substances.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that with our medications. We're a OTP center.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing is going to be addressing the mental health concerns of the person, so treating them as a whole. So we always assign them with the behavioral health professional.
Okay.
And then, like I was saying before, getting them connected with resources too. That's one of the ways that we help people with their addictions.
Okay. So I know something very important with like mental health and substance abuse is timing, right? Why does timing matter?
Timing, it plays a big role in addiction treatment because, and that's one of the things too, is we are there pretty Monday through Friday. Anyone that comes to our center before 11 o'clock, they can come in, be seen by the behavioral health specialist, be seen by a provider, and sometimes even start treatment that very same day. We have like a very small window to help people when they do make the decision that they, you know, might become curious or might want to make that change, just because of how strong that drive is of addiction. If you can't help them with those physical symptoms, you run an extremely high risk of them going back out and using. And when that happens, you know, you never know, that might be their very last time. So the quicker we can get them in and seen, the more lives that we're going to be able to save.
Okay. Now I know, we hear the saying that you have to meet people where they are. Is that very important in this field?
Very much so. Our big thing is, you know, we don't turn anyone away. So someone could walk in off the street with no insurance and come and see us, and we're going to help them get connected with those resources. They're still going to, you know, come in and be able to make that appointment and be seen by a provider and get them started while we work to help get them the insurance that they need.
Okay. So after someone comes in and they receive the help, how is that, I guess, rebuilding their confidence phase? Because I know some people may feel like that, hey, they may not have the confidence to, come out of the program and live I guess, a normal life. How is that, rebuilding the confidence in their identity? How's that phase?
Yeah. Well, it depends on what type of substance that they're coming in for. But one of the main reasons that the medication assisted treatment gives them hope is, it's been statistically proven time and time again to be the most effective way to help reduce those cravings. And some of our medications, even if you give it to them, like let's say opioids, for example, the opioids will not work the way they would before if they're on some of these medications.
Okay.
So it kind of gives them a second to stop and think, like, oh, like maybe I should call my sponsor, maybe I should talk to a loved one or something, because I'm thinking of going out and using these substances that at this point, with the medications I'm on, they're not even going to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it just gives them a beat to kind of think about it for a second.
Okay. Now, coming on that rebuild of confidence, Jenny, how does that feel with you? Like for you to be the outreach coordinator, and sometime you may talk to someone who may want to enter the program, and then you see them maybe a few weeks later, you may see them a month later, and then it's like a whole 360. How does that feel to you?
Oh, it feels fantastic. I mean, there's definitely a couple of patients that come to mind. I know we can't say any names or anything, but just to kind of give you an example, there was a couple. They had both been kind of in those post incarceration stages.
Okay.
And something that happens when people are put away for a while and, in jail or in prison or whatever, is the world kind of seems to kind of move on without him. So when they come out, they feel very displaced. So things can be pretty difficult for them. And this couple, we'll call them Bonnie and Clyde.
Okay.
Just for the sake of it.
Yeah.
They were actually living behind the Bojangles that's off 29. They got involved in Daryl's, shout out to Daryl, NC Fit program,
Okay.
which helps people post incarceration with a multitude of things. And he got them enrolled in our program. Since then, they've been clean. They went from, living in a tent to now purchasing their first car.
Wow.
And that was just in a few short months.
Yeah.
And we have people, for, I think it was 15 years, this woman, she'd lost her children, she'd struggled with addiction, she was having a very hard time holding down a job. She's been with us for a little over a year now, and now she has 2 jobs, and she's gotten back custody of both of her children.
Wow.
So making a really, really big impact in Rockingham County. They do a needs assessment every couple of years of like what the community needs. And something they found was it used to be 1 in every 8 parents where their children were in foster care had a substance use disorder. Now it's 1 in 4.
Wow.
So the need has almost doubled. And I mean, if you think about it, like the more people that we can help, the more families we can help put back together. That's going to impact, the children, grandparents. It's definitely going to take a really big stress off of our DSS and whatnot with all the kids that they have in the program right now.
Wow. Now, from your program view, I guess like what is the is it more younger people you all are taking in, or is it more like middle age, or is it like more of the like elderly?
So to be in our program, you have to be at least 18 years old.
Okay.
So anyone from 18 years old to death really could come and see us. I think the oldest patient that we have right now currently is somewhere between 74 and 78 years old.
Okay.
So like I was saying before, addiction, it doesn't discriminate. So it doesn't matter how young you are, it doesn't matter how old you are. But we only do 18 and up because we're a completely voluntary program. So no one's being forced to come see us.
Right.
They choose to.
And do you see a rise more in like men than women, or more women than men? Is there like a graph that, over the few months or years that has?
I can't say that there's anything that I've noticed in particular. I mean, addiction doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter, age, creed, anything really.
Gotcha. Now, why do you think that having conversations about mental health is very important?
I think that it's important just to reduce the shame and stigma that you're talking about before. The more people that realize that they're not alone or unique in this issue and that there are things out there that can help them, the more likely they're going to be able to get help. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that are against recovery programs because they think that they're going to get, shut up somewhere for months and not be able to go to work. And there's just so many different options for people nowadays.
Yeah.
And the more shy or, taboo it is to talk about these problems that so many people experience, the less people are going to know how to get help. So thank you again for having me on here just so we can talk about that a little bit and help disparage some of those stigmas that are really holding us back as a society.
Absolutely. Now, are there any like signs that we should look out for that someone maybe they need help?
I would say a lot of signs, maybe being more tired than usual, people not doing things that they enjoy as much anymore.
Okay.
Um, Changes in their overall mood. Gosh, there's so many different things that we could be looking out for that could potentially point to something like that, and it should be okay, have that conversation with them, like, hey, I noticed that you've been coming in to work late a lot lately, like, what's going on? Is there anything that I can help you with? Just kind of help open those doors to make them feel safe enough to be able to talk about those types of things with you without being judged.
Now, how would you deal with someone that's combative when you are bringing those topics up?
That's a good question. And I feel like that's a pretty common reaction too, just because they don't want to have to deal with the shame. And maybe, you caught them at a bad moment. So maybe start off like, hey, is this a good time to talk about something? Like, I care about you. So, just making sure that they're in a moment where they can make that space for that conversation. And at the end of the day, maybe you're not the right person to have that conversation with them. Just being sure to encourage them to talk to someone that they trust about the situation.
So, what are some ways that I guess we can do like self care or like emotional wellness, or either like healthy coping skills dealing with someone who is going through this?
Well, I'm not a doctor, but I will say some of the things that I do know is you're kind of like a plant. So, have you got enough water? Have you had enough sunshine? Making sure that they're taking the time to nourish their bodies properly. That's a really big thing, especially for people that are going through the struggles with addiction, is making sure that they're well nourished because a lot of times when they're on these substances, there's a potential that they've been denying their bodies of nutrients. So keeping them satiated is a big helper in that fact as well.
Awesome. Um, why do you think that, I guess, like sitting down having these conversations are so difficult? Because I would love to for this to be on billboards and everything about mental health and addiction. But why do you think it's so difficult now to have these conversations?
I think a lot of it depends on background. I feel like, and this is just my personal opinion. I'm not sure if this is gonna apply for everyone, but a lot of times when people are dealing with addiction, they may come from a more difficult background sometimes, or around people that are struggling in a lot of different ways. So maybe they don't want to feel quite like a burden to someone else who's struggling. So they may have been taught by society to not talk about their feelings or their mental health because it would be, bothering the people around them or putting burdens on people who are also struggling. So I think the more that we let people know that it's okay to talk about the things that they're struggling with, and honestly, it's healthy to ask these questions. I feel like the better off as a society will be.
Awesome. What are some things that BrightView is doing, that's changing lives now?
Well, we're helping people with their addiction. So, we're helping give people hope. We're helping people get back to regular society. We're helping people find jobs and get reconnected with their kids. So, and most importantly, is just keeping people alive long enough that they will one day find the opportunity to be sober.
Mm-hmm. So for someone that may be watching now and they may say, hey, I'm dealing with this addiction, I haven't told anyone, or I'm embarrassed, what are some things that you would say to them?
I would say that you're not alone. There are people out there that care about your well-being and want to help you with this issue and are experienced in helping other people with this issue. So if you have those feelings, you can give us a call and make an appointment. You can schedule online at brightviewhealth.com, or you can just walk in on our front doors. We accept walk-ins, and if you can get there before 11 o'clock, you can typically be seen by a provider, that healthcare professional, and sometimes even start treatment that very same day.
Awesome. So if I can get a little sneak peek, is there something, that BrightView may be adding, or, just helping the community out a little bit more? You got something up your sleeves on your end as the outreach coordinator?
June the 2nd,
Okay.
we're participating in the Growing Healthy Families Resource Fair. So they'll have giveaways and just a lot of other community support agencies. Help with different things like food insecurities and whatnot. That's going to be at the Tractor Supply on June 2nd.
Okay.
And then we also have our reentry fair. That's hosted by, I want to say it's NC Works.
Okay.
And that's going to be for people who have been in post-incarceration or any type of justice involved people and their families. It's going to be on Juneteenth.
Okay.
At the National Guard Center. And there's going to be, like I said, a ton of giveaways and lots of resources. There's going to be employment opportunities there. So those will be really good things to check out coming up here in the near future.
Awesome. Do BrightView, do they have any kind of like volunteer programs that the community can volunteer, or maybe like a food pantry or something that people can donate to?
We personally don't have a food pantry, but there are a couple located around us in downtown Reidsville. We have the Reidsville Outreach Center, which is like a block away from BrightView Health. They give food to families and kind of like a drive-through style situation.
Wow, okay.
Every Thursday. And then we have another food pantry. Oh, the name isn't coming to mind, so I have to send that to you later. But they do it Monday through Friday at lunchtime.
Okay. Awesome. So if anyone wants to get in contact with you, they wanted you to come to their event or their, community festival, how can they reach you?
They can reach me through my email. That's going to be g.pegram, that's PEGRAM, at brightviewhealth.com.
Awesome. Ginny, I had an amazing time chatting with you and talking about the importance of mental health and addiction, and I appreciate you for stopping by the Mixx Network.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
Friday, June 26th from 1 to 5 p.m., Reidsville Market Square is the place to be. We will host our first annual Henley Home Care Health and Wellness Fair. Contact your coordinator, Katrina Harrison, 336-394-3942 to secure your vendor space. We look forward to seeing you.
So if there's anyone that's struggling with addiction, you can reach us on our line. It's going to be 833-510-HELP. That's 4357. You can schedule an appointment online at www.brightviewhealth.com, or you can simply walk in. As long as you get there before 11, you can be able to get seen that very same day. We accept Medicaid, Medicare, most private insurances, and we also offer cash bundles as well for those people that might be interested.
Again, Ginny, thank you so much for stopping by the Mixx Network. And you have tuned into this episode of Issues from the Heart. As we talked about addiction, we talked about getting help, we talked about mental health is very important. So until next time, thank you. You have now tuned into the Mixx Network.
Issues from the Heart.